What's up, Facebook Live? How are you? I have been offline. I was in Sedona, as many of you have seen my amazing pictures. Since last week, I got into town Tuesday. I had to think about what day it was. And something that I've known about for a long time and that I have shared about in my work, hi Rena, is all about our subconscious. And I bring this up in my course, Flourish and Flow, but I also want to touch on how important it is that we are aware of our subconscious patterns, because that's where we're driving from, right? And so we don't know, like nobody has taught us that your subconscious is programmed from the time you're about 2 years old to 6 or 7 years old. Science has proven, right, for all of us that need some science-based proof, that we operate about 90-95% from our subconscious brain. We're only about 5% of our conscious brain, which is the adult side. So it's basically like we have the 6 or 7 year old at the wheel driving. And can you imagine if you have kids and you put your 6-year-old behind the wheel, what would happen? They would be reacting to everything, right? Because little kids embody their emotions, and so they'd be like, cool. Like it would be very like this kind of craziness. Which is really beautiful when we're a kid, but then we become adults and we have to put on our adult suit. We have to show up in the world like we've got it together. But really the inner child, which is the subconscious, is saying, oh shit, or yeah, or whatever it is, right? Whatever emotions we have, our subconscious mind is tuning into that. So, and expressing itself in that way. And so that's why in relationships, we'll have the same issue arise over and over and over until we heal whatever imprinted that subconscious part of us. And then we'll move on to another relationship, which will just kind of touch on a different part that isn't healed. So everything is truly about unlayering and healing. And it's a journey, but it's a really beautiful one. And so the more that we actually heal ourselves, the more that we heal our children, because then we will not imprint on them what was imprinted on us. And what's really beautiful is that we can draw on some compassion, because when we understand that our parents were just doing the best that they can and that they were just truly operating from all that they knew and giving us what they were taught, then we can shift out of the need to blame them and shift into, you really were doing the best that you can with what you were taught. And you were teaching me the same, not knowing that it wasn't serving me or you. And so I had this really interesting experience in Sedona. And it was really all about just accessing my inner child. And it's funny because it feels like my logical mind is like, what the hell is going on? But my intuition is, and my soul is like, yes, this is exactly what I need. This is exactly the medicine that I need, right? I don't need pills to cover up the stuff that is wrong with me. I need to actually feel the anxiety, the panic, the pain, the tears, the whatever it is, I actually need to feel that to heal it. And it's real. And we're told in society that it's not right to feel, or it's too much, or you're unstable, you've got a chemical imbalance. Well, that might be true, science-based, right? And sometimes medication can actually help us level out to even get to the place that needs to be healed. It's not true for everybody. And so I was really able to heal my anxiety. I used to have really severe panic attacks and anxiety when I was in my early 20s. So severe that I ended up in the ER one night with a heart rate of like 130, just out of sheer panic attack. I couldn't calm myself down. I was like that for like a good hour, and finally I was like, I need to go to the ER. I know it's ridiculous. I know this is not logical that I need to go to the ER, but I need to go. And so in that process, right, I went to the doctor after, and she was like, I really think that you need to get on, I don't know, whatever medication was at the time, Xanax, and I said, no, listen, like, I don't want to. That doesn't feel right to me, right? That doesn't feel right. And so that's where the subconscious comes in. Our subconscious speaks through our feelings. It has been proven that our cerebellum is where our subconscious kind of lives, if you will, and our cerebellum is linked to how we feel in our body. So you can start to relate, and you can start to find the patterns by being in your body. And what's so interesting is that so often we want to be out of our body because our skin feels uncomfortable, or we're not good enough, or we're not, whatever it is, right? Or have too much cellulite, or my boobs are too big or too small, or just right, whatever it is. So we often want to get out of our body, but we've got to be in our body, and we're here on earth, right? We chose to be here because we wanted a body, we wanted this vehicle. We've got to be in our body to feel the feelings that our subconscious is letting us know that need to be healed. So I've talked about triggers before, and this all relates. So a lot of my videos, you'll find that, oh, she's mentioned that before. Why is she talking about that again? Because everything is everything. Everything is related. There's nothing that's not. Yeah, thanks, Oksana. I'm so excited to meet you, by the way. So everything is related. So there's not really a separation of subjects. It's just kind of chopping them up to make them manageable. So it was really interesting. So I had this experience, and it's yoga therapy. I did a few things on my retreat, and a lot of it was actually just by the other retreat goers that I was with. And this really beautiful healer, her name is Jess, she did some yoga therapy on me. So yoga therapy was very much about being in your body, but accessing your inner child. And so she had me go to where I was like 6 years old. Hey, Mom. So it makes me a little nervous because I'm going to talk about you a little bit, but in good stuff. So she had me access when I was 6 years old, and I just was like, she was like, what are you feeling? And I just started bawling, and I was like, I just want you to see me. And I was like, oh my God, that's what we all want. And I wrote about this on my Instagram. And what I had seen in my 6-year-old self was that everyone was so busy, right? Everyone was busy, and I just wanted to be seen for my gifts. And I wanted somebody to help me cultivate them. And like, yeah, you have this, right? But what I also realize is that we shift into wanting to be seen when we were born seeing ourselves. And so what was so beautiful was you get to see that like, oh, well, my parents couldn't see me because they weren't seeing themselves. Their parents didn't ever see them or honor who they were or honor their gifts, right? So like for my mom, I know she's watching, she always saw things differently. You know, she would so in Green River, Utah, there's these mountains, and they kind of mountains, right? They're just mountains. They make these cool little shapes and stuff like that, the book cliffs. There's one part that a lot of people see the word Bob. Well, back in, the early 60s, nobody else saw it, but my mom would see the word Bob, and everyone's like, I don't see what you're seeing. And so she was really diminished for being different. And I think this is the picture that she actually had to throw away. All because she wasn't seen for what her truth was. And so then that's what gets programmed into her. So then because she's not able to be seen and doesn't learn how to see herself, and this is for all of us, right? Then she can't begin to see anybody else around her because she's so busy trying to we're all so busy trying to be seen. And so I share this because if you struggle with it's so true, easy to blame your parents. Yeah, it's so easy to be like, oh man, Mom, Dad, you messed me up. Well, they really didn't. They are operating only from what they were taught. And the thing is we were not taught great for hundreds and hundreds of years. And not to say that there weren't some really amazing parents out there doing the best that they can, but we didn't have the information we have now. Well, we did. The ancients had the information, but anyways, that's a whole other story. So what I would invite you into, and so what I did was I felt where I felt it in my body, right? Where did I not feel seen in my body? That's the subconscious. And so then in my life, you start to show up. So when I feel on a subconscious level that he's not seeing me, I react. And then I'm like, where does that trigger come from? Oh, it comes from my 6-year-old self. Or it comes from my 14-year-old self or whatever it is. And then when you begin to shed light on it, it begins to surface and you can start to see yourself. And like I said earlier, I wrote a post about this on Instagram about the flower and that the flower just blooms. It doesn't ever long to be seen. It doesn't ever long to be adored. It just blooms in all its glory and all its mightiness that God intended. The flower blooms, and we are no different. We don't need our parents to say, hey, I see you're enough, so now you can go ahead and be the great person that you're meant to be. We don't need our grandparents, right? We don't need our lovers. We don't need that. We just think we need that permission of somebody else to say, yeah, I see you. Yeah, you can go ahead and do this now. F that. So what it released in me was kind of this load that I was carrying of needing to be seen before I could whatever, right? I don't have a specific, just before I could. Fill in the blank, whatever it is, before I could heal, and we put these things in front of success or in front of money. I have to do this before I can get here. What if we just took this out and then just went there? This is all the construct of the mind and the subconscious. And so I invite you to really go deep in this and start to feel in your body where you feel the heaviness, where you feel the trigger. So when I think about, let me think of a situation. Like, okay, I guess Lex, because like he's my biggest trigger right now, right? Relationships are always the biggest mirror. He's amazing to me. He's amazing, and he holds a lot of space for me in ways that he's not even aware of yet. But that's what marriages are and relationships are. Like, yeah, and we're seeking validation. Yes, Oksana, like we're like, tell me I'm enough. I need to know that this was enough for you or enough for me. In fact, I'll actually just use an example from my client. So today, she was really talking about how she feels everything and like, oh, I just feel so much. I feel so much. And I could feel into, she was told at some point this was negative. And so she said, my kids are doing really well and they're really on point in school and all of these things, but they're so emotional. And I'm really excited. She's my new one-on-one client. She said, I'm really excited to work with you because I want to help them along to not be so emotional. I'm paraphrasing, right? She doesn't even know what she's saying, like on the big scheme of things. Because she's so passionate about healing herself so she doesn't carry the same stuff to her kids. And so she said, so I'm going to start treating my kids the way, what did she say? I'm going to start treating my kids the way I treat myself. And I said, what if you started to treat yourself the way you treat your kids? What if, your kids they're your babies, man. Like you love them and you want them nothing to be happier. And she's like, they're sad. Hey baby, what's wrong? I'm sad, mommy. I'm mad. Go away. Whatever it is, kids embody their emotion. And then it's natural. All we learn is to shift that out of them. Like grow ups, don't make a mess. Don't spill. It's not like that. Like clean up, we start to make these demands on them because that's all we have learned. We don't know any better. But kids just need to feel, they embody emotions. And if we could only learn and not deprogram from them the embodiment of the emotions, thank you for all the hearts, then we don't have to do the unlayering that I'm doing now. So I said, what if you treated yourself like you treat your kids? And she was like, oh my God, what if I did? And so ask yourself, what's wrong, Fallon? What's wrong, Oksana? What's wrong, Aisha? I see you guys watching. I'm so appreciative that you're here. My mom, Conrad, like, what's wrong? Oh, I feel overwhelmed, or I feel, and like my client, she was like, I feel defensive. She was like, I get defensive a lot. And I think, is that related to my inner child? I said 100%, and she talks fast. She's a fast talker and she goes. And I said, well, and a lot of my work is very intuitive. It's just really tuning in and I get some stuff that comes in. And I said, well, you talk fast because you were never seen as a kid. And so in the moments you were seen, you had to get everything out as fast as you could. And she was like, oh my God, right? And so we have all these little clues. We have all these little clues that we can use to heal. And part of it is being in our bodies we got to feel it, to heal it and bring it to surface and honor it. And when we honor it, and what was so beautiful is my client even was like, she's talking about her dad and she's like, but the thing is he's a human too. And I don't want him to feel hurt or pain. I'm like, that's compassion, right? That's the ultimate definition of compassion of like, but we love our parents and we recognize they were really doing the best that they could. And we don't want them to feel pain. Yeah, that's a good mantra, right, Oksana? So I share all of this with you because sometimes we just need to treat ourselves the way that we would treat a little kid, with compassion and love and like, hey, what's wrong? I'm mad. Well, Fallon, why are you mad? And you can talk to yourself out loud. Who told us that that's not okay? That's what psychotic people do. I don't care. Break the normal. Break what's normal. Like break the definition of normal. There is no normal. Normal is what feels good to you. So if you can honor what feels good to you, you begin to be more yourself in the world. And when you're more yourself in the world, you start to heal everyone around you and you give them permission to be more themselves. So the more me I am, the more you are. And that feels good, right? That feels really, I just want to swear, but I'm not going to swear on a Facebook Live. It feels good to finally shed the layers of skin that are not yours and to really show up in the world as yourself. It's so freeing. And that's what we're all called to do. That's why right now, everything's going through a shift. That's why your life is either doing a 180 and you're like, what the hell is going on? Or maybe it's going really good and you've already done all of the work around it. But that's why everything is shifting and changing. People are becoming more aware. That's why you're seeing more coaches out there, more mastermind, more classes, because we're all in this together to heal and be more ourselves. We're all just divine expressions of God. Not just. We're all divine expressions of God, right? Source, creator, whatever your belief is in the big whole of it all. We're all divine expressions of that. So who are we not to feel our best and show up as only our authentic self, and to heal ourselves of the layers? As we hear this all the time, the layers that are no longer serving us. Well, what does that mean? The layers that just don't feel good. If it doesn't feel good, it's not serving you. So I came back from Sedona probably more myself than I've ever been. I felt like in a really interesting way I was meeting myself for the first time. And it's funny when you do that, because even just little things like to the clothes that I wore home felt more myself, and I knew I was like, Lex is gonna tease me. But it just feeling more yourself, and it's scary. It's not to say that you're not gonna be scared. I'm scared that as I had this big fear that if I met my, I heal all these things and I'm more myself, right? Does that mean I change all of a sudden and nobody can relate to me? Well, not really. I'm still me, right? I still have the same personality, there's all these things that are still me. But it is scary. It's scary because you don't know if you're going to be accepted. You don't know if people are going to see you. But what's beautiful about being more yourself is it doesn't matter anymore if nobody sees you. You see yourself. I see myself. I honor myself. I feel myself. I'm feeling a little bit anxious. Let me tap into this literally and let me feel, what is this telling me? What is this teaching me? And then I become my own medicine. I become my own healer. And then I see myself. And so then I see myself and I can see you more, and I can see my daughter more, and I can see my partner, I can see my mom, and I can hold all of them in the vision that they hold for themselves. So Oksana, talking to my body is the most, healing thing I've ever, there's so many answers, Oksana, you're so right. So many answers that our bodies hold. We disassociate when the body is the key to the healing. And I'll tell you, before I left for Sedona, I had some severe back pain. I could barely move. I was really nervous about it. My mom is an amazing healer, so she sent me some long distance healing, which helped a lot. But that is also trapped emotion most times, right? Most times the pain is trapped emotions that can't be felt. And isn't it interesting that I did this huge inner child work on my trip, and I feel so much. My is trying to call me, but my pain is virtually gone because I actually dared and went to the scary places of feeling the anxiety and the panic. And through the feeling of the anxiety and the panic, I then got to the root of, I just want to be seen. And not just, I want to be seen. And now I just see myself. I can see myself. And I can see all of you clearer because I see myself clearer. So your subconscious is running the show, and that's okay. But what we can do is start to become more present, and our body brings us back to present moment. So if you have pain, if you have anxiety, if you're sadness, it's all a map. It's all a map to your subconscious brain. And so we can start to shift and realign. And there's this really cool magical lady we met out there. Her name is Aurora, and she just did it so beautifully. She was like, you just come back. You just realign and you just shift. And we were like, oh my God, yes. So it really can be that simple. It doesn't have to be crazy hard. It's just giving your own self the permission and not waiting for anybody else and stepping into the fear of it. It's scary. But fear is kind of false. It feels scary because it's the unknown, and the unknown is always scary. But then if we don't go into the unknown, we just stay where we're at. And most of us don't want to stay where we're at. Most of us want to leap. Most of us want to be the best version of ourselves that we can be. We just don't know how to get there. It just takes the first step. So my first step was hiring a coach last year. That was huge for me. My other step was really implementing my strong meditation practice and really getting back to my spiritual roots that my mother gifted me. My other step was signing up for this retreat, right? So for me, my steps were investing in myself. My steps are investing in masterminds. I'm in masterminds with other like-minded women like Oksana, who's so supportive. I met her in a mastermind, and she lives close, so we're going to meet soon. So whatever your steps are, or even if you don't know what they are, know that you're your own best healer, but sometimes we need to go outside of ourselves to let somebody hold space for our healing. And that's what a healer does. That's what a guide does. That's what a really good coach does, is they hold space for you to be your best version of yourself, and they guide you on the map that they know. And you're going to resonate with their map or you're not, and that's okay. If you don't resonate with their map, find somebody else. And if you resonate with their map, then Sonia was one of my other healers on the trip. And if you resonate with their map, then hire them. Ask them for guidance. Invest in yourself in that way, because it is priceless. It's priceless what you receive, and you're worth receiving. This was another huge conversation Sonia and I had a lot. In fact, I would share with all of you as you're watching this, please, I know a lot of you are live and you're commenting, and I appreciate it. And if you're watching the replay, go ahead and give me like a peace sign or your favorite color heart. But Sonia also did a really powerful healing for me and for my inner child. And so if you're wanting probably one of the best healers I've ever met in my life, do some work, contact her, just hit her, like click her name. She will walk you through, and it's not like anything, it's not crazy. Like, it's not like, oh my gosh, it's just really natural, and it feels really good, and you're really supported. And she helped me also unlayer a lot of that inner child stuff I was sharing with you guys about, like, what was your 6-year-old self doing? What were you seeing? What were you feeling? And then what was what do you need? What are those stages in your life, those subconscious stages that we're still holding on to? What do we need? And how can we alleviate that and give back what isn't ours? That she did walk me through an amazing meditation of giving back what wasn't mine. And then feeling what was, and so I could release it. I'm telling you, like, new woman over here. I'm still me. I'm just way more me than I've ever been. Oh, I love you so much. So if this resonates, I don't know, do a click. Just kidding. Give me your best emoji. Share with me. Share with me where you weren't seen. Thank you, Oksana. Share with me maybe where you felt like you weren't seen. And if you want to DM me, DM me. I have a couple spots left open in my one-on-one. I would love to set up a call with you to see if it's a good match. I also have something I'm releasing very, very soon in the next few days. It's going to be really exciting. And it's all about getting into your body, because we've got to be into our body to start to heal and feel where we need to get into, right? Our subconscious and our inner child and all that fun stuff. So I love you. I see you all. You're beautiful. And I will talk to you soon. And I'm so excited to connect with you guys even more on some of this. So lots of love. Bye.